Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Every story hides another, and yours might be next. At the first light of dawn, the rooftops of Brambleford glowed with a golden warmth. The Honeystone cottages, still half asleep, welcomed the day as smoke curled lazily from their chimneys. Sheep bleated in the distance. A tractor's engine rumbled across the fields. Life here moved at a steady, familiar rhythm, a rhythm the villagers trusted, a rhythm no one expected would soon be broken in the heart of the high street. Clara Weston polished the wooden counter of the corner cup. Her cafe, small, loved, and always alive with the scent of fresh scones and roasted coffee, was Brambleford's early morning soul. "Morning, Clara!" Edith Miller, the brisk postmistress, swept in with letters tucked under her arm. Bills, offers, gossip. She teased Clara about her lack of gardening skills, and Clara laughed, as she always did. It was ordinary. It was safe, or so it seemed. Moments later, Tommy Briggs, the handyman, came in for his bacon bap. The cafe filled with its regulars, retired couples, young mothers, tired farmers, and all the warmth of a village that cared for its own. Clara breathed it in. This belonging was what she loved most about Brambleford. But that morning, something felt different. Something felt off. From her window seat, Clara noticed him. A man in a gray coat, buttoned high, a flat cap pulled low. Unfamiliar. Still, watching, he lingered by the churchyard wall, eyes shifting from the tower to the row of shops, as though he were placing himself in a story he didn't belong to. Clara frowned. In Brambleford, strangers stood out like ink on parchment, and this man was ink. Her instincts whispered caution lessons hard learned since her husband's death. The stranger had the air of someone who wanted to belong, but didn't want to be seen. Father Whitmore entered, smiling kindly, but when Clara asked if he knew the man outside, the vicar peered through the glass and found no one there. The figure had gone, vanishing down the lane toward the railway bridge. "Perhaps just a visitor," Whitmore said gently. But Clara's unease remained. Later, as the cafe quieted, Clara found something unusual. A white envelope, left without a stamp, crumpled, addressed only to M.W. Brambleford. No name, no sender, just mystery. She set it aside in her little wooden box for lost property, planning to ask Edith later. But the envelope sat there like a silent question. By midday, Brambleford blossomed with life. Children played on the green. Dogs barked. Neighbors exchanged stories outside the butcher's. It was picture perfect, almost timeless. Yet Clara, carrying flour from her shed, caught sight of him again. The man in gray, now by the old railway bridge. Ivy clung thick to the stone arches. Water trickled below, but his eyes weren't on the bridge. He was staring down, deep into the stream. Before Clara could call out, he turned, sharp, brisk, disappearing into the woods beyond, as though he knew she was watching, as though he didn't want to be followed. Clara shivered. This wasn't London. People here weren't mysteries. Not in Brambleford. Evening fell. Cottage windows glowed. Street lamps flickered on. Clara closed the cafe for the night, her hands brushing against the envelope still waiting in the wooden box. To M.W., she thought about opening it, just to see if it mattered, just to see if it was urgent, but she stopped herself. It wasn't her place. Clara Weston didn't know it yet. But by morning, Brambleford would never feel safe again. The next morning began as so many had in Brambleford. Mist rolled low across the meadows, clinging like breath to the earth. Inside the corner cup, Clara Weston was already at work. The cafe smelled of fresh coffee, flour, and lemon zest. By 7, the first hum of voices filled the cafe. Farmers warming their hands around mugs, mothers with tired smiles, children tugging at their skirts. The sound of spoons on china, of laughter, of life. And then the door banged open. Tommy Briggs' ruddy-cheeked handyman, sturdy as oak, stood in the doorway. But his face was pale, his breath shallow. Mud clung to his boots, smeared across his trousers. "Clara, you'll never believe it," he stammered. "Down by the old railway bridge." He swallowed, trembling. "There's a body, a man." The knife stilled in Clara's hand. "A body?" she whispered. Tommy nodded, his jaw tight. "Dead as stone. I was on me way to fix Mrs. Larkin's fence when I spotted him, lying half in the grass, half on the embankment." His voice cracked. "Don't reckon he belongs round here." The cafe, once warm with chatter, fell into stunned silence. Edith Miller clutched her handbag to her chest, her eyes wide. Father Whitmore bowed his head, whispering a quiet prayer. Even the clock on the wall seemed louder, its ticking filling the air. Within half an hour, Brambleford's High Street buzzed with uneasy speculation, whispers spreading like wildfire. A body in Brambleford? A stranger, perhaps? Or worse, someone they knew. Clara, torn between duty and dread, closed the cafe earlier than she had in years. By the time she arrived, a crowd had gathered. Villagers clustered at the edge of the cordon, faces pale, voices hushed. Yellow tape fluttered in the cold morning air. 2 constables stood guard, ushering people back with firm, practiced motions. The coroner's van idled nearby, its engine humming low. Clara's eyes found the sheet, white, stark against the grass. A man's boots, worn and muddied, protruded from beneath. Death had come to Brambleford, and nothing about it felt like it belonged. Her mind leapt instantly to the man in the gray coat, the figure she'd seen standing by the churchyard, the figure she'd seen again by the bridge. But now, he was nowhere in sight. "Step back, please," an officer called out. Clara obeyed, retreating to the safety of the crowd. But her thoughts churned like a storm. A body in Brambleford. It had never happened before. As she turned to leave, a constable approached her. "Excuse me, miss, you're Mrs. Weston from the cafe?" Clara's throat tightened. "Yes," she managed. The constable lifted a small evidence bag. Inside, a notebook, leather worn thin at the edges, pages frayed. On the cover, in faded ink, initials, M.W., the same letters, the same mark, the same quiet chill that had haunted her yesterday on the envelope left behind. Her stomach dropped. I saw something like that yesterday," she whispered. "In my cafe, an envelope, addressed the same way, just left behind." The constable's gaze hardened. He nodded gravely. "Detective Inspector Hale will want a word with you when he arrives." Clara's hands trembled as she clutched her coat tighter. The crowd murmured, the village spinning in anxious circles. But Clara heard none of it. She heard only the echo of her own thoughts. The envelope, the initials, the stranger in the gray coat. It was all connected. She could feel it. That morning, Brambleford's cozy calm shattered like glass. And Clara Weston, for reasons she could not yet explain, was no longer just a bystander. She was a part of the mystery. By afternoon, A dark-colored car pulled into Brambleford's quiet square. Its tires crunched against gravel. Villagers paused mid-step, conversations stalling. Out stepped a man the village had never seen before. Detective Inspector Matthew Hale, mid-40s, weather-beaten face, eyes shadowed with the weight of long nights and harder truths. His coat, long, dark, rain-streaked, moved with him like a second skin. Every stride, brisk, measured, purposeful, the villagers whispered. City folk barging in, some muttered. Others, with a tremor of relief, sighed. At last, someone serious. Clara Weston lingered by the door of the corner cup. Her fingers brushed her handbag. Inside, the mysterious envelope still waited. Unopened, unanswered. Inspector Hale, a constable announced, guiding him toward her. This is Mrs. Clara Weston. She may have relevant information. Hale nodded once. Mrs. Weston, I understand you found something connected to our victim? Clara drew in a quiet breath. Her voice steadied. An envelope. Yesterday morning, in my cafe. It was addressed only to M.W., no full name, just initials. The victim had a notebook with the same letters, didn't he? Hale's eyes narrowed, sharp and assessing. That's correct, may I see it? Clara withdrew the envelope, her hands careful, deliberate. Hale sealed it swiftly into an evidence bag without a glance inside. Thank you. That could prove important. Clara hesitated. Then, she added the detail that had been clawing at her mind. I also saw a man yesterday, by the churchyard. Gray coat, flat cap. He looked out of place. This morning I saw him again, near the bridge. Hale stilled, his brow furrowed. Description? Her words came steady, precise. She painted the man's outline with her memory, the way he lingered, the way he stared, the way he vanished. Hale jotted every word, then lifted his eyes to hers. Good eye, Mrs. Weston. Most wouldn't have noticed. Clara gave a faint shrug. In a village like this, strangers stand out. For the briefest heartbeat, Hale almost smiled. But it vanished, replaced with the weight of his burden. The victim was not a local, he said at last. But there's a connection here, and I'll need cooperation. Trouble is, small communities can be resistant. He glanced toward the villagers watching from the green, their stares sharp, their whispers sharper. Fear breeds silence, Hale murmured. Clara met his gaze. Firm, unwavering. They'll talk to me. People trust me, sometimes more than they trust. Officials. For the first time, Hale's stern exterior shifted. His tone eased. Then perhaps, you'll be my bridge to Brambleford, Mrs. Weston. The words struck her unexpectedly. Years had passed since anyone had looked at her as more than the widow who ran the cafe. For so long she had felt invisible. Now she was seen, needed, useful. As Hale moved to his team, issuing clipped instructions, Clara lingered at her cafe door. Her eyes wandered across the village, the post office, where Edith Miller sorted her endless letters, the pub, already alive with rumors spilling faster than pints, the church spire cutting sharp against a pale sky. It was Brambleford, familiar, safe, at least. It had been, but beneath the surface, in the shadows between cottages, in the hush between whispers, something stirred, and Clara Weston was no longer just a bystander. By aligning herself with Inspector Hale, she had stepped into the story, a story Brambleford would never forget. By nightfall, Brambleford's hush had gathered inside the Hare and Hound. Whispers curled like smoke. Suspicion, fear, denial. Clara listened from the corner, notebook hidden, ears sharp. "He shouldn't have come back," a voice muttered. The words pricked like thorns. Came back? The victim had roots here, and someone wanted them buried. By morning, Clara's search led her into the parish records. Faded ink, brittle pages, and a name that struck like lightning. William Marks, baptized 1983. Guardian, George Palmer. The vicar returned with tea. Clara closed the book with trembling hands. Her secret had just become a weapon. Inspector Hale stood face to face with George Palmer, a man of shadows and silence. His fists clenched, his eyes evasive. "I don't know him," Palmer growled. But Clara, hidden by the hedgerow, saw the truth in his stance. Fear, not ignorance. Fear of exposure. The corner cup became Brambleford's confessional. Speculation traded for scones, rumors folded into teacups. And outside, the man in the gray coat lingered, watching, waiting, gone before Clara could draw breath. Fire! Flames devoured the old cottage by the stream, the place where the victim had once slept. Every trace of him burned to ash. And Clara remembered. Alan Fisher, petrol can, Mill Lane. Her silence now pressed heavier than smoke. Brambleford turned on itself. Neighbors accused neighbors. Trust fractured like glass. That night, Clara walked alone past the churchyard. Mist curled around gravestones. And there, the gray coat, the flat cap. She called out, but the shadow melted into the fog. This time, her fear was real. The village square is heavy with silence. Clara walks slowly, her eyes sharp. Every face a potential liar. The body discovered in the fields has shaken everyone. But it is the whispers that disturb her most. Secrets cling to these people like shadows at dusk. She notes the glances, the half-finished sentences, the way conversations end when she arrives. Something here is rotten, and Clara is determined to uncover it. At the edge of town, Hale works alone. He retraces steps, searching for clues in the mud where the body was found. A fragment of fabric, torn, bloodied. Hale pockets it, jaw tightening. Someone tried to erase their trail, but not well enough. The way he slipped it into his coat, quick, deliberate, was almost too practiced, though no one else was there to notice. Clara questions the townsfolk. The baker, the blacksmith, the priest. Each gives answers that sound polished, rehearsed. But Clara listens deeper, pauses, hesitations, eyes darting away. One name keeps surfacing, a man who vanished weeks ago. His absence is louder than their words. In Hale's study, maps and notes cover the desk. The evidence points in circles, yet one detail stands out. The missing man's house. Abandoned, but not empty. Inside, Clara finds fresh ashes in the fireplace. Someone has been here recently, burning letters, erasing truths. Hale's eyes flick to the hearth a second too long, as if the flames reminded him of something he didn't voice. Night falls. Clara can't shake the feeling she's being followed. Her footsteps echo on the cobblestones, but there is another rhythm, slower, deliberate, just out of sight. She spins around. Nothing. Just the cold night air and the flicker of lanterns. But her instincts scream. She's not alone. The investigation tightens. Hale examines the torn fabric under lamplight. It matches the missing man's coat. But why would he disappear, only to return in fragments of suspicion? The town is hiding something, and it begins with him. Clara and Hale visit the old mill, abandoned for years. Inside, dust and shadows, but also footprints. Recent. They follow the trail deeper until Clara finds a scrap of parchment tucked between floorboards. The ink smeared, but one word is clear: debt. Hale urged her away from the broken boards almost hastily, steering the search elsewhere, though Clara barely registered it at the time. Interrogations grow fierce. Clara confronts the priest. His hands tremble. His words stumble. Finally, he breaks. A confession, but not of murder. Of blackmail. Someone has been bleeding the town dry, holding their secrets as weapons. And the missing man? He was at the center of it all. The truth unravels fast. Letters surface, hidden in the chapel walls. Proof of debts, betrayals, forbidden alliances. The town's leaders once trusted are entangled in corruption. But one letter, one stands out. It ties everything back to the victim. This was no random killing. It was a message. Fear grips Brambleford. Clara walks through the square, watching panic spread like wildfire. She knows now the murder wasn't just about one man. It was about control. Whoever orchestrated this wanted silence, obedience, and power. Villagers argue in tight knots, accusing, denying, pleading. Hale stands apart, his coat heavy with rain, his gaze scanning faces like he's measuring their worth. Clara studies him, the way his hand rests inside his pocket, the way his eyes flicker, not at the villagers, but toward her. And then she remembers. The fabric he pocketed, never shown. The study arranged too neatly. The mill he had led her to without reason. Her breath quickens. Pieces shift in her mind, jagged and sharp. For the first time, she wonders if the hunter was standing beside her all along. The pieces align. Clara and Hale stand at the edge of the truth, facing the final veil of lies. They meet in the churchyard, rain dripping from the iron gates. Clara's voice is steady, though her hands tremble. "You knew," she whispers, "from the very beginning. The fabric, the study, the mill. You weren't chasing the truth. You were directing it." Hale's eyes darken. His jaw tightens. "I chose the path," he admits, his voice low, rough. "Because Brambleford's secrets were never meant for the world to see. You think I came here by accident? I've been watching places like this my whole life. Quiet towns that rot behind their curtains. You call me a stranger, but I know every lie whispered under this bridge. I just hold the line so the rest of you can sleep." Clara: "So you decide who deserves peace, who gets to vanish?" Hale, grim smile. "Someone has to. Order doesn't keep itself at any cost." Clara steps back, horror rising in her chest. "You protected them," she breathes. "You protected their corruption." Hale's hand shifts from his pocket. Not a weapon, but the torn fabric, damp and frayed. He holds it out like a warning. "Proof," he murmurs. proof enough to bury you in their lies if you speak. Clara's choice hangs in the storm. Expose hail and the village burns. Stay silent and the rot spreads. Her heart pounds, her breath falters, and Brambleford waits, suspended in the rain, in the thunder, in the silence of what she will or will not do.